We mentioned location of responsibility already, and let's see what precisely this is alluding to. Another interesting feature of the governing of sustainability challenges is the location of responsibility, which is multifaceted and involves various actors across societal spheres and at different levels depending on the particular sustainability challenge. At the global and regional levels, international organizations may play a role in setting the standards and goals for sustainable development. We have already discussed a little bit about sustainable development goals in terms of food security, health, protecting the environment, biodiversity, children, women, and so on and so forth. At the national level, governments are responsible for implementing and enforcing these standards and developing policies and activities to address sustainability challenges. So you can imagine a global structure where all countries are, let's say, signing on to something, then each government, each country, and then the country subnational level, there are responsibilities to meet the commitments to the international agreement. This responsibility is sometimes also located with actors on the state or provincial level. At the local level, municipal administrations or other local authorities play essential roles in implementing sustainable practices and engaging citizens in actual efforts. It is also here we find the basis for most civil society organizations that provide space for people to mobilize and organize in locations to diverse issues and sometimes contradictory interests, although some of them may also act on and influence the national and even international levels. So it's a bit general, but you get the idea that there are global sustainability challenges that we have to meet, and there is, mitigation is global just because CO2 is a well-mixed, long-lasting gas. So if you remove CO2 anywhere, you're going to remove it from the system. Of course, it's a matter of how much you remove. But when you do adaptation and sustainability, they're very much local issues, but they all have to add up to global sustainability and global adaptation and resilience. Right? So in that gives some people the avenues to influence the process at many levels. In this context, the process of governing and governmentalization. Additionally, market actors such as companies and corporations of various sizes, foci and research have the responsibilities to address sustainability challenges by implementing sustainable practices within their operations, providing sustainable goods and services, engaging in sustainable supply chain management, and collaborating with other actors to advocate for policy changes. This is in the best case scenario because already corporations have clued in to the idea that people like sustainability as a brand, as an effort, so they are claiming sustainability in various things, and their products are often branded in various ways saying it's sustainable. But now it's obvious that many corporations and market forces, businesses are actually doing something called greenwashing, like whitewashing, where you cover up a lie. Greenwashing is where you claim things that are sustainable but actually they are not in reality, and so on. Okay, but in the best case scenario, everybody is moving forward: individuals, families, communities, firms, governments at all levels, and so on. They are also central actors in addressing complex sustainability challenges. Corporations are, which are elaborated on further in the next section. Finally, it is important not to forget that individuals also have important roles in addressing sustainability challenges through their consumption choices and voting patterns. If living in democracies, you get to vote, otherwise you don't. So in short, addressing sustainability challenges I keep shortening it. Sustainability challenges requires action and cooperation across multiple spheres and levels of society. They require polycentric governance, which is where Ostrom came in. Elinor Ostrom focused on managing the commons at various levels and showed how rules, norms, and penalties can give us triumph of the commons instead of assuming that tragedy of the commons is inevitable. So here are examples of actors across societal spheres and levels. You have global, so state, market and civil. So you have the UN and various this one is what you have to look it up. Market forces, you have oil companies and drug companies, and civil societies, you have Oxfam and Save the Children and so on. You have international regions, so they are more like the European Union, the African Cooperation Organization, whatever it's called, and again you have regionally Nordea and other market forces, and you have civil societies such as Amigos and I cannot read it. So national, of course, and state and provincial and county levels, and you have municipal and council levels, and you have local, ward, village, neighborhood. So what is involved? Menteng, Montparnasse, Bar-Youssouf. So here in local, ward, village, neighborhood scale, we are given several examples here. Dhankar Wadi, Mbweni and South Central, and so on and so forth. Market forces at local, ward, village, neighborhood levels include commercial farmers, farmer shops, mom and pop operations, corner stores, and so on. And so in civil society you have women associations, guilds, youth groups, interest groups, local charities, and soup kitchens, and so on and so forth. Let's read a bit more about the role of the markets then. The final important feature of the governing of sustainability challenges elaborated on here is the role of the market as one of the three main societal spheres, together with the state and civil society, as we saw here. Here the market is more than just an allocative mechanism, but also an institutionally specific cultural system. State organizations like national authorities and municipal administrations rely heavily on input from various private companies, the quintessential market actors, not necessarily so much for coordination, but for providing a broad range of goods and services perceived necessary for governing various issues. This pattern is perhaps not surprising, considering the fundamental role of the market for production, and private companies have been implementing various activities decided and funded by the state on different levels. This reliance on private companies to provide public services is ubiquitous in most parts of the world. However, studies suggest that the role of the market has expanded to also provide crucial input to the decision-making process per se, clearly visible in the dependence on input from various consultants. Numerous studies show how consultants are central to a range of important decisions on different administrative levels. So consultants is a very generic word, but you can think of lobbyists who are taking money from businesses and representing certain positions that the businesses want. And here the other complication is that when we say businesses or corporations, they are not necessarily people or individuals or even groups of people. It is shareholders, which could include you without you even knowing, because you have a retirement account which is investing all over the place. So you could well be investor in, let's say, Shell or Bayer or so, and you don't even know. So you have to be careful about what you mean by corporations. We say corporations are greedy, and they are, because they have to respond. Respond to shareholders. So, continuing here, for instance, in decision making for climate change adaptation, all these market forces and consultants play a role. However, their influence does not stop here. They are not only bidding to win contracts, but also influencing perceptions of what needs to be done in the first place. The recent growth of consultancies is, in other words, not only driven by a growing need for input to different decision-making processes, as aptly suggested by Boyd et al. In 2011, but also by their ability to create a need for services that the state actors do not even know exist yet. Right? So people often don't know what information is available that is useful and what is being fed to them that is actually not useful. Their input drives demand for more input, motivated by further improvement in governing the particular challenge. That's the positive direction. and a good direction. Some studies suggest that consultants play a key role in formulating public policy itself. In other words, private companies are no longer only carrying out activities to implement particular decisions, but also providing the foundation for the decisions themselves and influencing the experienced need for their services. Okay, so this is a complicated story in terms of people with money controlling too many things, including you and your data. Okay, so consultants play a key role in governing most sustainability challenges as shown here. As we said, they are, let's think of them as a necessary evil, but how to monitor them, how to evaluate them, how to make sure they're not pushing the wrong things is always tricky, because they can have too much power to get past the evaluations themselves. So you have analysis, management, marketing, process itself, and you have strategies, solutions, organizations, vision, development, and ultimately decisions. So governance and governmentalization with consultants can lead in certain directions. So we'll come back and look at governmentalization of sustainability in the next podcast. All these are important points, and it's good that this chapter has been added. We have to then think about how these affect our representation of the human environment systems and what it means in terms of changing the world. So compared to the first edition, I'll keep adding these points as appropriate as we go along, since I didn't want to discard the whole recording and redo the whole thing. But nothing is lost, because we're just adding to the base material that's there in edition 1 and also there in edition 2 with some additional insights. Okay, see you in the next podcast.